The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
He says,
Marjorie Traitor Greene, I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
Well, the Marjorie Taylor Greene Donald Trump breakup is official, it seems, after months of bucking some of Trump's policies and pushing for the release of the Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor Greene has found herself on the receiving end of Trump's fury, and it doesn't seem like she likes it very much. But before we get to his tirade and all of the fallout from it, Cenk, we want to hear your 2 cents.
Yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene's getting attacked by all sides, now except some core of certainly the populist rights backing her, and for however much we speak for the populist left, I'm not backing her entirely on all of her policies, of course, but backing her on this. And this is it. This is a fight between the people who are full of crap in the establishment, which now includes Donald Trump. I think it might have always included Donald Trump, but some think that he's new to that camp, and the populists like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So we're gonna show you all the back and forth and the threats that she's been getting. But at the end of the day, who's gonna win? And that's a super interesting conversation. If you think it's definitely Donald Trump, I don't think you see what's going on at all.
All right, so here is what Trump posted on Truth Social on Friday. He said, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene and the great state of Georgia, of the great state of Georgia. Over the past few weeks, despite my creating record achievements for our country, including a total and complete victory on the shutdown, closed borders, low taxes, and no men in women's sports or transgender for everyone, and having created the hottest country anywhere in the world from being a dead country just 12 months ago and so much more, all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with 219 congressmen/women, 53 US senators, 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics, and if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican hating anchors. Oh no, not The View. Okay, so Greene disputed Trump's claim that he told her not to run for the Senate and his allegation that she had been badgering him with phone calls. In response, she did release a text message that she had sent him earlier that day saying, check the flight logs of Epstein's place. Bill Clinton is on there like 26 times. Hillary too, for many of us, releasing the Epstein files has always been for the women who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but also because we believed that Democrat bad guys like the Clintons were entangled and involved with him. Epstein was the spider that wove the web of the deep state. Lean into it. So she guessed that text is what sent him over the edge. In response to Trump's onslaught of attacks, Marjorie Greene also wrote on X, I never thought that fighting to release the Epstein files, defending women who were victims of rape, and fighting to expose the web of rich, powerful elites would have caused this. But here we are, and it truly speaks for itself. Well, Trump shot back again. There's a lot of back and forth here, this time coming up with 2 of his signature nicknames for his new enemy. He said, lightweight Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, green grass turns brown when it begins to rot, betrayed the entire Republican Party when she turned left, performed poorly on the pathetic View, and became the rhino that we all know she always was. Just another fake politician, no different than Rand Paul Jr., AKA Thomas Massie, who got caught being a full-fledged Republican in name only, make America great again. And then he said Marjorie Traitor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. And then that was when Marjorie Greene basically accused him of abandoning his America First positions. She posted screenshots of AIPAC trackers showing that she has taken no money from AIPAC and a Liberty scorecard that awarded her 100%. And she wrote, "This and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. It really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. I forgive him and I will pray for him to return to his original MAGA promises." And that's, that's very big of her. Well, since he began his attacks, Greene says that she has been receiving threats of violence against her. It says the hoax pizza deliveries have started now to my house and to my family members. We also received a pipe bomb threat on my construction company's office building. President Trump's unwarranted and vicious attacks against me were a dog whistle to dangerous radicals that could lead to serious attacks on me and my family. President Trump has called me a traitor, which is absolutely untrue and horrific. Mark Levin has been calling me a traitor, and so have other prominent, likely paid social media activists. This puts blood in the water and creates a feeding frenzy, and it could ultimately lead to a harmful and even deadly outcome. But Trump voiced his doubts that anyone has actually sent her death threats since, as he claims, nobody cares about her. And this whole saga is, it's hard to wrap your head around, because on one hand, you want to be like, oh, good, she's finally starting to realize who this guy is and has always been. And on the other hand, you're like, how did she not know? She must have known, and she was playing politics this whole time, because her alliance with Trump and her alignment with him and his policies this whole time is the entire reason why she even has a career as a politician. She was very MAGA. She was very America First from the get-go. She came out as, a QAnon supporter even, and she made her way through all these inflammatory statements into Congress, all the way into Congress. She got reelected. We've been dealing with her for a long time now, and she has been riding on the coattails of Donald Trump. Now it is very difficult, I think, Cenk, to feel sympathy for her and what she's going through. Obviously, I don't want anyone to feel threatened for their lives or for their property. I don't like the idea that she's getting death threats against her, but she was part of the coalition that was demonizing the far left and calling us radicals and calling us dangerous. But she's been on the bad side of MAGA for 2 days, and now her life is actually in danger. Now is when she's actually starting to have to look into an additional security detail. So all the propaganda that she's been spewing this whole time, maybe if this is a real turn of face for her, then maybe we can get behind that, but I just don't trust it right now, Cenk. One more thing before I toss to you. One thing that we do need to keep in mind is that the Republicans are looking forward to the Republican Party in a post-Trump era. And so it seems as though some people might be interested in separating themselves from Trump. So maybe that's another factor of what's going on here. All right, Cenk, I'm done.
Yeah, so look, the threats and the toxic language, she used it in the past as well, no question. And she did it in sometimes over the top fashion. But as we're gonna talk about a little bit later in the show, she's now apologized for that. And that's good, that's a turning point, right? You want people to go, oh, right, that was wrong. And now I'm on to doing the right thing. So I appreciate that. So is she playing politics? Guys, let's get past this. Everybody's playing politics, right? Mm-hmm. She's a politician. So then the question is, yes, but is there a core there, right? I believe, for example, Ro Khanna has a core, Bernie Sanders has a core. They believe in certain things and they're not gonna move off of that core, right? And so, and if they was convenient, would Bernie then turn around and be against universal health care and help health insurance companies rob Americans? No way, there's no chance he would do that. But is Bernie a politician? Yeah, he's a politician. And sometimes, things are done out of compromise, negotiation, convenience, etc. For example, his compromise with Joe Biden, which I couldn't stand. And I thought were ineffective, but yeah, that was politics, right? So, all right, now then we get to the core of who these folks are and who should we trust, right? Trump says she's just another fake politician and a rhino, right? Just another fake politician. Well, that's ironically what a lot of his base is saying about him right now. So they thought he was special and different because he appeared to be anti-establishment. And then he comes in and does the same exact things as the establishment. So who's the fake? Now, this is not really indisputable. It doesn't matter because the Trump loyalists will dispute it anyway. And I think mainstream media flips it on its head. They're constantly making it seem like Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving MAGA. Okay, now the terms are getting confusing because everybody's claiming ownership over different terms. But in terms of the original MAGA principles, and I know that they didn't really exist for the politicians largely, right? But they did exist for the voters. The voters actually did believe them. They weren't lying, right? They really do hate corruption. And I know they picked an ironic leader for that. I got it. I've been saying that from day one. But they do hate corruption. They do want to be America first. Can anyone really dispute that? And is serving Israel loyally and demanding to give money to Israel the way to serve America first? No, of course not. Of course not. Did they really want the Epstein files released? Of course they did. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to release them. Donald Trump doesn't. And you go down the list. They cared about inflation. Donald Trump said, I don't care about affordability. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the warpath on affordability. Now you could say, oh, she's doing that because of politics. Good. I want them to care about the American people for politics. All we've had for the last 40 years is politicians only caring about the donors for politics. It would be amazing, even if they were faking it, to actually try to do something for the American people and care about them first. So in terms of the original principles of MAGA, it is absolutely, utterly indisputable that Marjorie Taylor Greene is closer to those positions than Donald Trump is. So, okay, so then obviously she's more pro-MAGA, but the mainstream media is so, like, I sometimes wonder about, like, I don't want to say intelligence, it sounds so rude, but like, do they know anything about politics? Do they know what the original MAGA positions were? Do you know, if you're in mainstream media, what America first means? Do you know which country it prioritizes and which country it does not prioritize? Do you know which one is Marjorie Taylor Greene or Donald Trump is closer to that position? Do you know anything? Anything at all? Because if you know anything at all, it's super clear that Marjorie Taylor Greene is close to the original MAGA positions. By the way, half of which I totally disagree with, right? But nevertheless, she's closer to them. Okay, so now that leads to the three branches of the current Trump voters. And again, they're all lumped in together for convenient purposes for whoever's doing it, right, left, center, etc., right? No, there's three different branches at this point. So there are the independents who voted for Trump. And if you say there are no independents that voted for Trump, I don't understand what that means. Do you not understand numbers? Do you have trouble reading? No, there was a ton of independents that voted for Trump. So are those independents like pure MAGA Trump loyalists? By definition, they're not. Otherwise, they'd call themselves Republicans and they'd say they're MAGA, etc., right? So they're independents. Do those people generally listen more to like Rogan, Theo Von, Tim Dillon, and honestly, a little bit of us, etc.? Yeah, they do, okay? And so those guys, are they Trump loyalists where they're like, okay, if Trump does it, that's it. We were anti-war. I've staked the whole thing on anti-war, but even though I'm an independent, I have no loyalty to any party or any person. No, if Trump says pro-war, I'm now pro-war. That's gotta be near zero. Maybe it's 12% of the independents who voted for him, but nearly none, right? No, they care. They went to that side because they thought that side had the answer, the anti-establishment answer, right? So those guys are definitely in play, and Trump has no lock on them at all, okay? Then you've got another third, and you could argue with the thirds, you could argue with the percentages, no problem. But just as a way of thinking about it, you had another third that's original MAGA, that really is anti-war, anti-corruption, America first, etc. That's being represented these days by Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, Tom Massey, etc. They are much, much, much closer to the original positions. And then you got a third, again, it could be more, but the third group in the Trump voter base are Trump loyalists. And those are the guys who are like, oh, if Trump says they're eating cats and dogs, they're eating cats and dogs, period. If Trump says that, as they literally are saying this today. Trump said, oh no, I was playing, Trump doesn't even say this actually. Trump just switched his mind, gave up, and conceded and said, okay, fine, let's release the files, right? And his loyalists come in and go, he was playing 4-dimensional chess. Just like the Obama loyalists told me before. Oh yeah, he seems to be going totally corporate and seems to be helping all of his donors, but he's playing four-dimensional chess, Cheng. And by the end of his term, we'll have everything: higher minimum wage, paid family leave. We didn't have any of those things. Any of those things. There's no four-dimensional chess. These Trump loyalists are like, he wanted to release the files all along. That's why he was saying not to release them. Those guys are hopeless. Like, just let him drift into the political universe, just like Sandra Bullock in that movie, like flipping over and over and over. Like totally, you're never going to convince them of anything. If they think that Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs in Ohio, they're not rational. So, but if you think that's all the Trump voters, you're nuts. That's not remotely true. So Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker are addressing in my opinion, about 2/3 of Trump voters that care more about principles and policies, including ones we disagree with, than they care about the cult of personality. So I don't know if today you did a poll. If you do a poll online, I know I've already done it. Over 66,000 votes. I asked who's the true champion of MAGA, Marjorie Taylor Greene or Donald Trump. And all the Trump loyalists came in, all of his supporters online directed people to my poll, etc. Trump went from a big deficit to a big lead. And then every real person voted and Marjorie Taylor Greene won anyway, right? But that's just online. And there's the boomers who watch Fox News, who probably now think Marjorie Taylor Greene is going on vacation with Nancy Pelosi and is like some sort of liberal or something, right? So who wins at the end? I don't know. I mean, I suspect it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, but that's what we made voting for. And I think in 26 a little bit, but then in 2028, both the Republicans, but also the Democrats, they're both of their establishment wings, including Donald Trump, are gonna get a rude awakening. At some point, people are gonna figure out what a primary is. And they're gonna go there and they're gonna realize, oh, I don't have to vote for the lesser of two evils. I don't have to vote for the other party. I just use my own party's primary and I vote out all the bums. Who are the bums? Almost all the incumbents who are swimming in donor cash. This is not complicated. And then on last thing on that, yes, is, well, so who's more corrupt? Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't take AIPAC money. Corporate PAC money, I don't know if she doesn't take any these days or very little, but she doesn't seem to be attached to it. And Donald Trump is swimming in money. The 300 million from the Israeli lobby, the big oil gave him God knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars, big pharma, etc. Who's more corrupt? Not close, Donald Trump is. So I'd rather, for me personally, as far as which direction the country is gonna go, I'll take an honest populist that I disagree vehemently with on some issues over a corrupt politician any day.
Yeah, I believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene maintains that she has taken no money from AIPAC, which is something that a lot of Americans support on both sides of the aisle. That is an issue that seems to be galvanizing a lot of Americans, maybe for different reasons. They have different reasons for not wanting to support Israel, but nobody wants to support Israel anymore. And I think even the fact that our country is so beholden to Israel in a lot of ways is really just become such an eye-opening issue for so many Americans, not just about Israel specifically, but about the way that our country operates, who is in charge, who is pulling all the levers, and everything that's going on here with the United States and with the American people is really all being done in the service of a different country all the way on the other side of the world.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.